Good morning, everyone. It is still morning. It's 11 o'clock. The clock is wrong. We're trying a new camera setup for our cooking video today, and we're also getting a little more in depth in some of our cooking videos than we have been. We've done a lot of super easy crock pot meals. This is not a hard meal, but it is definitely going to be a little more intensive than our crock pot meals. If you didn't know that handy trick to do your garlic, if you take your garlic, put the flat of your knife on it, give it a little tap tap, the skin peels right off. And that is our friend. So today we are going to be making braised short ribs, and I will be making mashed potatoes later to do it over the top of mashed potatoes. Short ribs are super inexpensive to purchase. They are super delicious, super flavorful. We are doing a rendition of our market friend Hooked on Homemade's braised ribs to try today. We're doing a little bit different because, well, everybody knows that I have no chill. But we are gonna do a basic, it's a relatively straightforward braised short rib. So there will be a lot of pausing and coming back and forth this video because some stuff just takes time. So first thing I'm doing is getting my garlic all peeled, and I'm gonna crush that up so it's ready to go. And I am going to cut my short ribs, and I will show you those when I get to seasoning them here shortly. So be back. All right, guys, I am back. I did most of these short ribs. I just took them out. When you get packets of short ribs, I'll pull it up here, you can see that there are bones that go this direction. So this one has 3 short ribs. So what we're gonna do for this one that has 3 ribs, you go to where the bone side is up. I'm gonna try to make sure you can actually see it. I already cut the rest of them. And you're just gonna go right in the middle of where those bones are, and you just cut it. Look at the marbling and the pretty on that. So everywhere there's a series of 2 bones together, we're just cutting them in half. And then I am laying all these out. Look, this one's a giant one. Actually got a little fattier spot in it, but we are taking them out, and then we are going to season all sides liberally with coarse salt and pepper. Also, for anybody who needs to know, this is coarse salt because those little boxes leak everywhere. That's a Parmesan cheese container. We don't really eat sprinkled Parmesan cheese because we don't do a lot of super processed stuff, really. But the lids for the Parmesan cheese actually work. Let's see, we're smoking just a little bit, so I turned it down. Actually fit on mason jars of all sizes, as long as it's a wide mouth mason jar. So I put my salt in this, and we are going to liberally salt and pepper all sides of these short ribs. And then my pepper, my coarse pepper is actually in this little jar. So we're just give it a good seasoning. And then I'm literally going to pat the seasoning in that we put on there so it sticks, and you just rotate it and you do the next side. And you will do this for all the sides of this meat. So I will be back. All right, so while we were seasoning this, when I say we season on all sides, I mean like all of the sides, do all the directions. I've had this Dutch oven heating. If you don't have a Dutch oven, you can do a pot. It just needs to be an oven safe pot. And we are going to sear all sides of the short ribs. Let's put a smaller one in there. So we are wanting to put it in there, let it get a good sear on every single side. So all 6 sides, good sear. So I made a large mess with my salt and pepper, so I will be back. I'll be back to show you the sear once I get that far, but we are making progress. We will be back. So coming back, I've got the second round. Do not massively overcrowd your pan. You want all sides of all the roast of all the short ribs in there. You got to touch the bottom. So I'm actually doing it in 2 separate rounds for what we're cooking. When I say sear off all sides, look at that. Every single side, every single edge has a nice crisp on it. You can go darker than this if you want to. I don't like the flavor when you get that like char. Personally, I want the flavor of the sear, not of the burn. Some people like it like blackened. You do you. We'll be back to the next step. Okay, we have finished searing all of our short ribs. Celery, carrots, onion, pretty much as you want to put in there. I would say probably a whole small onion or half of one of the really big ones. I will be honest and say I did not have all of the things here today, so I cheated because I didn't want to mess with it. And I bought this handy dandy box of already cut up stuff. And we're just using the whole box of it. And you're just putting it down in your juice that's left over from your meat. So we are going to let those vegetables simmer down. I'm actually going to turn it to like just below medium. I lost some hair. We're going to let that simmer for a few minutes until they have softened up. So I realize you're going to see me reaching for the camera every time I do it, but that's what it is. So we put all those vegetables in. I switched to a wooden spoon so that I can actually scrape the bottom of the pan. You're wanting to get all that delicious flavor from what you seared. And so I'm literally just taking this in all this juicy sauce and stirring and mixing it up. All we are doing are softening those vegetables. Once the vegetables are softened shortly, I am going to be adding, I put like 7 cloves of garlic, 7-8 cloves of garlic. But they weren't like really big ones, they were small ones. I would say anywhere from 4 to 8. If you like a little more zestiness in your garlic, do more garlic. I'm not saying you can't put too much garlic in something, but I am saying there are a lot of other things you can put too much of besides garlic. And we like it. So I just used this little baby food processor that I had in lieu of chopping it because I'm lazy and I didn't want to. So it's just finely chopped in there. So as soon as these are softened down, I would say we're pretty close to being there already, and we're about 5 minutes in. I would say 4 to 5 minutes. We can add our garlic. So I am going to go ahead, since it's already on. Oh, I forgot to turn this off. Whoop. Sorry if that was loud. I'm going to go ahead and add all of my garlic in there. Put that in the sink. For the record, that smells so good. Once we add our garlic, this is where you've got some flexibility. You can put like 3 tablespoons of tomato paste. I do not have tomato paste because I forgot. So I'm actually going to do most of a little can. Honestly, we're just going to do the whole little can. Who cares? Of tomato sauce. That is, I'm going to say it's like 8 ounces maybe. That is 8 ounces. You can do a couple tablespoons. She's simmering. And once we got her going, I'm going to turn her down just a little. You can see this. She is a big, beautiful, saucy mix. Again, we do about 3 tablespoons of tomato paste or 6 to 8 ounces of tomato sauce. And then we are going to take an entire bottle of red wine of your choice. I want to say it's like 750 mLs maybe. Don't know. A whole bottle of red wine, essentially. I'm using a Malbec today, but you can use literally whatever you want to. Malbec is the red wine that we had. Any deeper red wine would work fine. Do not Do not substitute with the white wine. It will not work with this white wine. It is red wine necessary. So we have this going, and I'm going to put it back on about medium, and I'm going to simmer this down. I don't quite go till it's halfway, but I'm gonna go pretty dang close to a third to halfway simmer down. And because we put the wine in, the wine was cold from the fridge. Why was the red wine in the fridge? I do not know. That is where I found it. I don't drink it, so it doesn't matter. But we're gonna cook this off to cook the alcohol part of it off and to simmer it down and thicken it up and kind of really bring out those flavors. So we will be back. All right, guys, so this has been, I'm probably gonna have to close that window because it's jingling. It is actually pretty beautiful today, so I have the window open. So this has been simmering, and it is thinned down quite a bit. I would say it's reduced by close to half. You can see the line where it started up here. Like a little bit is the stir, but like for basically right here. So it simmered about close to half. I did not have regular beef broth in the carton, so I made beef broth. You can put some of this on the end because you don't know exactly how much you need, but I'm gonna go ahead and pour some of it in there so I can mix it. And I know that I'm gonna use some of it. So that's literally just beef bouillon, and I used hot water so it would be good dissolved. And then we are just going to take our short ribs. I'm especially putting the big ones like closer to the bottom. So we're gonna do a little flippy with my lid so I can use my lid to hold it some. Hold some of the smaller ones. And then we are taking our short ribs and we are putting them down in the broth that we just made. So our goal is to get them really kind of tucked down in there. My Dutch oven is not the biggest Dutch oven in the world, so space is a little bit of a problem, but we're working with it. We're doing what we can. For these big guys, I'm kind of sitting up a little till we get some of these smaller guys in here too, and then we will jimmy stuff. We can get one last one in there. I know we can. All right, there we go. So we are wanting the beef part to be pretty much covered by the sauce. You can do it like 2/3 under and put your little steamer thing on it, but I personally like for it to pretty nearly cover the beef up. So I just added a little bit more of that beef broth to that. And again, all these things are going to be personal preference. I'm going to take just a little sprinkle of our coarse salt, and I'm going to sprinkle it right on top. And then we are taking thyme. It is not herb season, so we do not have fresh stuff from our garden. So we're going to take a couple sprigs of thyme, just kind of tuck it down in the sauce. I'm doing a big old batch of these, so I'm going to put 2 of them in there. And then we're going to take a sprig of rosemary. I'm going to take half a sprig because that is giant. Take a sprig of rosemary. Also, going to tuck it down in the sauce. And we are going to take 2 bay leaves. Bay leaves is one of those things, if you leave them out, you know that you left out something important, but you can't quite figure out what it is. But also, you can over bay leaf stuff. And if you over bay leaf stuff, it makes it super, super, super bitter. So we are literally just taking all these herbs, kind of tucking them down in our sauce like that. And I'm kind of tucking the salt that I sprinkled on there. And then all of the prep work for this is done. I would say it took probably 25-ish minutes or so for my wine sauce to simmer down. And then I am actually going to put the lid on this, but I'll pull it off so you can see it closer. Put the lid on top of this, and because I have all day to do it in, I have plenty of time, I am actually gonna put this into our oven at 250 for the next like 5 to 6 hours or so. What you're going for is for the meat to be literally falling off of the bone. If you don't have as much time, you can put it in the oven at 300 for like 3 to 4 hours. I'm just always a huge fan of the low and slow, especially if I don't have to do anything with it. I'm gonna put the lid on it. Actually, I'm gonna do one more thing first. Hold on. There is a fancy name for this, but for the absolute life of me, I don't remember what it's called. Danielle, if you watch this, you can put it in the comments. But I am taking this and I am folding it in quarters, or fold it in half, and then you fold it basically like a triangle, and then fold it like a triangle one more time, because we are trying to get an approximation of the size of our pot. So we're gonna hold this at about where the center is, and then cut around, and we need a little hole in the middle, so I'm going to cut the very top also. And then when you open it up, ta-da! And we are going to put that on top, because we are wanting to keep most of the steam inside. So that's our little cover. Starts with a C. Fancy name. Pretty sure it's a French word. I'm not a French lady. I don't know. So I'm going to take this, put the lid on it, and this is going to go in the oven. And then we will touch back later tonight. The doneness that you are looking for is that you can poke a fork into your short rib at anywhere in your short rib, poke it and pull it out, and you don't need any resistance at all. So I am using our bottom oven today. I already adjusted the racks. Problem with the bottom oven is it's on the floor. That's pretty toasty. So we're actually going to use pot stickers. Oh, she's heavy. And then we love it, so we leave it alone. And we're not going to open it. We're not going to mess with it. We're not going to touch it at all for like the next 5-ish hours or so. Because here's the fun rub with this. There's a little bit of leeway with the doneness of this. You can cook them longer and they're in this sauce and they're not going to get tough. Now, if you left it in there for like 2 days, yeah, pretty sure you could do damage. But if it's in there for an extra hour or two because you're working or you have something else going on, guess what? Doesn't matter. Super forgiving. So we will touch back later when we get to the next part. Hi, so my name is Ashley, and I did the thing that I always do where I forget that I'm working on a video, and so I skip steps. But let's just do a quick walkthrough of it. I'm taking my time out of my short ribs. So I took my short ribs out of the oven. They stayed in there probably about 5.5 hours or so. And I took the short ribs out because, let's see if we can do a piece. See how you can literally stick your fork in it and pull it right out? I will deface a rib for your pleasure. But it literally comes right apart in your fingers. Tastes delicious, by the way. And then I took all the juice. Clean my fingers. We're doing great. I took all the juice from this. And this is where it gets a little bit like you can do what you want to. You can leave all the juice and just separate, like use a ladle or something to get the fat layer from the short ribs off. I actually ran mine through a fine mesh strainer because at this point, the vegetables have given off all the flavor, all the nutrients, all of the everything that they could possibly put out there. So now they're just in there. They're just chunks in there. And I don't really like that in my sauce. So I strained it through a strainer and then I actually ran it through a gravy separator. If you have never used a gravy separator, you put the juice in it and then all the fat goes to the top and you press the handle and it comes out, the gravy or like the actual broth comes out the bottom, it's a game changer. You should definitely have one. But I used a separator, and then I actually put that sauce back into my pan, and I am just simmering it down to thicken up. So you have a couple options with this. You can, I'm starting that because I will forget. You can simmer this down until it thickens naturally, but you're gonna have to, it's probably gonna have to simmer down by about half. I don't really have the patience for that because, well, mostly I just don't really have the patience for that. So instead, we are going to be doing a cornstarch slurry to thicken this, which I will come back shortly for that to show you how to do that. But first I'm going to pause you and I'm going to go strain my potatoes and whip up my potatoes for mashed potatoes. So I will be back. Okay, so we are back. I made a cornstarch slurry. It's just a teeny bit in a cup. If you do not know how to make a cornstarch slurry, it's literally just, this is like a teaspoon and a half of cornstarch with just a little bit of water. All you want is cold water, because the trick to a cornstarch slurry working is that this has to be cold and what it goes into has to be hot. If they're the same temperature, it's not going to do anything. And so it's important that they're different. So this is actually cornstarch with water from our fridge. And then I have my sauce that's been sitting here simmering on the stove just while I did everything else. And you will literally just take your cornstarch slurry, stir while you're mixing so you can make sure you get the consistency you want. And you pour it in to your sauce. And when I tell you, it happens immediately. I don't know if you can tell in the video how quickly that worked, but it's literally already a thicker sauce. So the sauce is ready to go. The short ribs are ready to go. I made mashed potatoes to go with this today. And so I will, see my mashed potatoes over there. Our Brussels sprouts are getting ready to come out of the fridge. I actually made a garlic parmesan mashed potato today because I just thought it would pair well with this. So I will make a plate and we will make Josh try stuff, because why not put him on the spot immediately? Look, I said it was gonna happen. Look at it plated.
It looks good.
We made a thing. So now you get to try the thing. For the record, this is not something that I have made him before. So this is a brand new, please disregard our mess in the corner. You have a knife right there if you need it. Oh gosh. 1 or 2 Brussels sprouts, you won't die. Just 2. I mean,
that's good.
That's good. He said that's good. You gonna, Charlotte Salmon, you gonna try a bite of the prepared to taste test it? Here. Hope he's gotta take the Invisalign out. Gotta keep it real. Alright, hold on. We're gonna turn it around. Gotta have mashed potatoes with the 2.
A good bite.
That's it? That'll do? Oh yeah. It is Piles Gentleman approved. Fair?
Fair. Very fair.
Bye, friends.